Hello and welcome to episode 4 of TraegerMethod Oil Painting. I can't believe this is as out of focus as it is. My face, fairly in focus. The painting, not so much. Don't know that I have a title for this particular painting. It's not one of my bigger ones. It's about 3 feet by 4 feet. We'll get through this first section of film where it's kind of blurry looking here in a few minutes. This is the first day this was all shot this afternoon. This is the first day of painting I've done in a little while. I've been really focusing on music lately. I set up a recording studio in my other room. I'm recording into GarageBand, guitar, bass, drums being electronic drums. Just programming drums, bass and guitar, a little bit of keyboards here and there. I bought some monitors, so I have real studio monitors, so I can do mixes. And I'm very excited about the work I've been doing musically. It's some of the best stuff I've ever done, for sure. And I'm applying a lot of the same attitudes that I've been putting towards painting, towards music. You know, let's not just be content. Oh, look at that mohawk. God, that's horrible. Just this greasy hair hanging out. Got a mohawk, like many people during the plague days. Getting into cutting your own hair. Ordered some AirPods today, so you're not going to see that cord anymore. We'll see if that's a new revelation. Right now I have 3 headsets, microphone, earbuds, 2 of which only work out of one side, and then one, it looks like it's about to fall apart, but it actually works out of both ears, but that's the last one. So I made the leap. Rather than buying, several $16 sets a year, I'm just going to have the one and hopefully not lose them. We'll see. Most Apple ear stuff does not stay in my ears, but I'm sure there's some kind of attachment you can use to keep them connected to one's ears if they don't fit. But yeah, with the music, I've been really focusing on finishing songs, putting all the parts on, and really embracing this idea of being a recording artist, like painting in the studio with sound. The Beatles come to mind, of course, a studio-centric artist. Because with music, for a long time, I had this idea of like, oh, you get to a certain place, you don't want to tour, you don't want to jump in a van, be in a band. So you're done. It's a weird prejudice I had, like about music, like, oh, with music, to be real, you have to like be a touring band or something. But I've given that whole idea, that train of thought up completely. Like, no, I just want to share songs that I make. God, look at that greasy. Is that, I don't think that's like wet out of the shower either. Could my hair really be that way? God, looking at your own voice, your own face, looking at your own, listening to your own voice. It's not how I look. It's not what I sound like. This painting, crazy jumble. Lately I've really been wanting to start some new paintings, just some fresh starts. See all those divots and carbuncles, blisters on the painting? There, that's a little better, isn't it? A little crisper. Sorry about that. Anybody who sticks with me and watches these, listens to them, I am impressed. You know, these will get better. Or not, but I think they will. I know they will. So that's a pretty close to full shot of the painting. What is it? Chaotic jumble. Touching up the vagina thing back there. Putting some highlights on it. One thing it just made me think of when I just watched myself put those kind of glossy highlights on the edges of those labia areas. And it made me think about how, you work loose. I work loose, kind of. I work kind of grope towards a resolved composition. It's not very linear, the process. But yet, I really understand that, like, the little fine details, like the little bit of gloss on top, the highlights there, the depth of shadows, all that stuff matters profoundly. And I've been noticing that with painting or with music as well. That, if you do a double track, like you do two guitar parts, one over the other, you double a part, it makes all the difference in the world if you play nearly identical parts or variations on a part. And lately what I've been doing is like taking the time to do a solid double take, like to really repeat exactly, and lining them up like that precisely is really satisfying. Same thing with vocal melodies. I'll do a lot of doubling. I tend to do two of each part. Two lead vocals, two second lead vocal, two chorus vocals, two second chorus vocal, a bridge vocal. Then I'll do like, highlights, like some hey heys, and I'll do two of each hey hey, maybe four hey heys, and stack all those things up, pan them in the stereo mix to the right, to the left. And you're building architecture. And it's all about choices, going like, okay, some parts are going to be really tight. I'm talking about painting or music. Some parts are going to be very tight, very locked in, and then other parts are going to be very loose, wandering. And it's the combination of the two that give things power. Think about walking around in a neighborhood, you might see a house, a car, very rectilinear, very precise, hard-edged. And then right next to it, you see a weed or a plant, a vine that's wild, tendrils going out in all directions. A riot of colors, shapes, unexpected things. That's reality. It's both. What is this painting about? I've always seen that character down there in that window. It looks like he's dipping his hand in something. It looks like a chimpanzee emerging. You got this kind of astronaut face. Up there, he's like the dreamer. There's my face, I feel like, is self-portrait right in the middle there, right? See that little bed down there towards the center bottom? Right behind that bed, just behind the pillows, you see a face looking up. That's me. See? Look at my face. Look at the face down there. I did not do that on purpose. That just showed up, and I went, hey, that looks kind of like me. It's a little self-portrait stuck in this thing. What's this? Oh my gosh. Getting some high production values on this one. Whoa. But what for? It's just another version of that same flower. I think sometimes when I'm editing these videos, I get self-conscious that there's not enough happening. You know, my attitude right now is like, I'm going to make 50 of these videos, let's say. They're not all going to be amazing, you know. And I'm doing this right now. I'm so tired and I'm ready to go to sleep. I got like 4 hours of sleep last night. But I committed to myself that I would put out a painting video each Wednesday. Or a YouTube video, I should say, each Wednesday. And I'm doing that. That's what this is. We're not going to sacrifice our release schedule just because I may want to be sleeping right now. See, I'm putting figures. You see those little figures? Putting some figures into that flower bubble there. I often encourage, in these talks, I'll encourage people and I'll encourage you to have multiple works going simultaneously. You know, have a dozen paintings, 20 paintings, 50 paintings going. I'm starting to think, 50's too much. It's really hard to finish anything when you have too many things going. So I feel like with painting right now, I need to like pick a set of paintings and be like, okay, these ones are done. By done, I mean I don't want to work on them anymore for now. Open to getting rid of them. By that I mean selling them. I was thinking about the differences between painting and music recording. One of them is that you paint, and that's the process. It's, you know, it's all in there. You know, it's not like with recording. There's these stages, the writing. Been doing this thing with GarageBand where I'll write, you know, just kind of in a scrappy way, just put together different parts. So there's this part, there's that part. maybe throw in some really basic drum tracks, and then try and just collect the parts. Like here's a bridge, here's a chorus, verse thing, a little intro, whatever. And you just kind of put them in there, and you don't worry about how many times it's repeated or anything like that. And then with GarageBand, being this digital medium that it is, then you can take that project that you put in there sort of in a quick slapdash fashion, and you can just duplicate that project, then go in and start just chopping up and putting things in different orders and seeing how they sound. Different sections. Have something repeat 3 times, have it repeat, loop it, whatever, then kind of build the architecture of a song. And if it works, suddenly it goes, oh, that's cool, it goes back to the verse unexpectedly after the chorus repeats 3 times. Then if it sounds good, then you go back, you kind of build the song. Then I go back and start replacing the parts with an actual performance that I like. You know what I mean? Like, I'll just record like a scrappy guitar part, like placeholders. And then I'll work on like, okay, getting a tone that I like or whatever. Mostly just volume level. Since I'm working digitally, I'm replacing a lot of the sounds. And you can just switch the guitar amp model many times as you like. So the main thing is just getting a clear, loud signal, like a full, loud, dry, basic guitar signal, for instance. Just put in the parts, start building them, replacing all the ones that I kind of just wrote. And then you keep cleaning it up and tightening up until you have the tracks. Then it becomes the process of mixing. What levels, where are they in the stereo sweep? I was thinking about the visual aspects too, or visual understanding I have of musical architecture. Like I'll write some guitar part, that goes dee 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 dee. Then I'll put a second part that goes dee 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 over that. Then together, they form a harmony. And I'll see it as a pattern. Like the way you look at a plant and see, oh, the leaves are on the spine, the stem of the plant, the leaves. Every 4 inches there's another set of leaves. One set goes one way, one set goes another way. They're completely balanced. The leaves are symmetrical. There's 3 sets of leaves, and then on top is a flower or whatever. I'm not even thinking of a particular plant right now. I'm just saying, like, you look at that plant and you go, well, there's rhythm. It goes 1 set, 2 set, 3 set, 4 set, thing, flower. So it's like da-dun, 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 bing. That's the architecture of the plant, and that's could be thought of as a musical structure. And there's fractal elements to songwriting too, where there'll be like bigger patterns throughout a song, but then within those parts, you'll see echoes of the whole. It can happen in painting as well. I'm sorry if this is not like super gripping. You know, I am sorry. I really am. But you know, the fact is, if you're listening to me apologizing for this not being a particularly inspired artist talk, or the fact that, you know, I'm sitting here thinking like, I'm not even talking about painting. I'm talking about music making. But the thing is, here's what I'm saying. The thing, ooh, I like that light, that highlight on the chimpanzee person, that backlit thing. What I was just going to say is, you know, if you are listening to what I'm saying now, well, then you stuck around. You're interested enough, or you're, you know, just too engrossed in what you're doing to get up and change it. You know, maybe you're just listening and you're not even, you're barely paying attention, but you are paying attention enough to register what I'm saying. So why am I apologizing to you? Maybe you think this is good stuff. I just have to get used to putting this stuff out there. It's a balancing act in life, you know, this idea of like, I want to have some quality control, but at the same time I don't want to stifle productivity. I don't want to you know, there's plenty of time and opportunities for me to do things that are really well thought out and planned and received and delivered in a concise fashion. These painting videos, that's not what these are. These painting videos are something else. Sometimes when I look at a painting like this, I think it's just like what I was doing, what I did as a little kid, you know. Okay, this is also something I'm realizing that I'm going to repeat myself and say the same things over and over and over again in each of these talks. There's only like so many ideas I have. And one of the things is this idea of action figures. And I know I talked about it in another, maybe I did, maybe I didn't, I don't know. But it's something that I was just thinking about, like that painting like this is like playing. When I was a child, I would, you know, have my action figures. Star Wars dolls, various articulated action figures. We didn't call them dolls, they were action figures for boys, right? They're dolls, come on, let's be real. Boy dolls. But, you know, I liked the Star Wars ones, the 3-inch dolls. I liked the 6 or 7-inch dolls, like the superhero dolls. So in these paintings, I'll find myself putting in figures of various scales. Like in this painting, I realized, okay, that chimpanzee figure, he's like a, 5-inch tall guy. So I'm going to put in a bunch of those. There will be like several of those. Will kind of be existing in a plane of scale throughout the painting. And I'm going to have little tiny guys, little tiny people. And there's like heads, like that one that's wearing a blue cape kind of right there by where I'm painting. That's obviously like a bigger, much bigger figure, but it's not a figure, that's just a head. So maybe it's a monumental head. Or maybe it's a bigger figure. But I like having the different scales of figures in a composition together, cohabitating. I remember as I was painting this, I was relieved that it was as easy as it was after having not, sometimes I'll step away from painting for just a few days and it'll all seem very unreal to me. Like, is this even something I do? How do I approach this? But, I've gotten really good about just jumping in and getting to work. I'm not going to sit here looking at this painting for a bunch of time, trying to figure out what to do. Just get in there and start going. It's not good enough yet, so make a mental list of what to do and get to work. That's another thing I've been doing with these songs, exactly the same, where I'll be like, I'll listen to it, I'll do a rough mix, listen to it, and you'll hear the deficiencies. And some deficiencies can be fixed in a mix. You go, well, it's just that part's too loud, or it's too whatever. But the main thing is you want to get it as close to the right. I mean, this is my attitude. Is I want to get it as close to the perfect thing as possible ahead of time. So you have to do as little repair or manipulation in the mix to get it sounding good. Just want to talk for a moment about the walk I just went on. I went on a walk around the Lads Edition neighborhood of Portland, Oregon tonight. It was so beautiful. The air was, I don't know what the temperature was out there, but it was like skin temperature, 80. A breeze, the light through the trees. There's a lot of beautiful plants in the Lads neighborhood. The breeze kept, and there was tons and tons of insects in the air. Little gnats. I don't even know what they are. Just buzzing around. Like if you'd catch them in the rays of the sun, they were just incredible. Numbers. But it wasn't creepy or anything. It was just beautiful. It was just like the world was just full of life. And you could catch smells every now and then of barbecues or whatever. And I just walked. I didn't put any headphones in. I just listened to the leaves rustling. And I thought to myself, God, you're lucky, just pure luck. The privilege of living where I do. The calmness and beauty. And I just thought about death. I don't know why. I just thought about what if I died tomorrow? I would have died at an absolute. So I'm getting to that place where I just go, God, it wouldn't even this could be it. Maybe I'm in heaven already. Maybe this is heaven. Marriage of heaven and hell. that William Blake phrase, title. Think about that a lot. It really, really nails it. It's the marriage of heaven and hell. The artist's life. The driven, obsessed artist. It's heaven and it's hell. Thanks for coming by.